Welcome to Cooking with Heart for Foundational for Class 3. So today we are going to debunk myths with tofu. So I'm excited to do that. And we're going to do wraps, like you haven't seen before. So nothing traditional about this. So next week we're going to go into some really key concepts, two of them. One is caloric density, and the other one is mindful eating. And so those are actually go really well together. And these are concepts that I've seen that are implemented in like spa environments. I did part of my internship at a La Costa Spa and Resort out in Carlsbad, kind of San Diego area. And so I got to see kind of what they do at a spa to give people an experience, to help them get healthy in a week's time. So that is really, it really boils down to next week, some of the things we're doing there. So we're gonna we're gonna have a fantastic soup, actually two of them. So you'll get to understand kind of how we can make creamy soups without adding actual cream. We're gonna have chocolate. We haven't really done a lot of chocolate. We're gonna do a lot of chocolate next week. So that's coming. Now, did anybody look at their refrigerator when they got home?
I did.
What'd you discover where your like primo real estate is?
Well, I've been kind of working on that anyway.
Uh-huh.
I've got everything that was kind of outdated, thrown away, and then things that I can find in certain spots.
Yes, good. Strategic
really.
planning. Yes. So Bonnie has gotten rid of her outdated products and then really thought about kind of where things are in certain spots in the refrigerator.
Packages all together,
Yeah. Okay.
dressings. things like The dressings that you pick.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you guys, so
Lily is the best.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
okay. Well, you're always in there.
I don't have enough space.
Yeah.
I know,
Well, can you
Even the vegetables get around, if I buy one head of cabbage, you can put it one cauliflower in.
Yeah, well, the whole heads of cabbage, I usually put those in the drawers.
Great.
So it's the things that are pre-prepped, ready to go, that we know when we're like in that, like, I'm bored or I want something, I don't know what. And we open the refrigerator. We want to be able to right away go, oh, there's that. Or for dinner, I want to make this real quick, or lunch. So yeah, refrigerators change a lot. Mine does too. So I'll try and organize it once the groceries get home, but that's just one time in the week. But if you can kind of think about that spot, sometimes it does help to have something that's pull out so that it's all stacked back there. So it keep having something easily accessible there. So
those trays in my freezer, I wasn't sure how much I like them.
Yeah.
yeah,
Open them up and everything's like, it's almost like OCD, everything's lined up.
everything's lined up so you can see what you have and you can get inspiration. So awesome. We'll play around. What works for one person isn't going to work for somebody else. So we're just talking, Vicki, about like if anybody had a chance to look at their refrigerator and where their eye went and maybe started playing around with some of the location of things. Did you have a chance, Vicki?
No, I was
Okay.
be over, so.
Yes. No worries. So yeah. So, and while we're on the topic, what kind of learning? So again, you took your action sheets there that you can check off and look at, reflect over last week. What sort of learnings did you have? What kind of thoughts? What kind of conversations, label reading, you change, what's working with the refrigerator. Some things are going to work, some things aren't. What kind of foods did you make that worked, that didn't? Lunch ideas, breakfast, anything like that. Just write those down. It's really, we have good intentions, but oftentimes it just bleeds out because we have so much coming at us. So if you can just, like, as you think of things, write down some of your learnings from last week. So, and we want to really focus on the gains, things that, are taking us forward. So, and even things that don't turn out are still taking us forward. They're gains. They're things that wouldn't have happened if we weren't on this path. So,
I have
Yeah,
a question about the honing and the sharpening of the.
yeah.
So how do you handle serrated knives?
I
Yeah.
use that all the time.
Serrated, yeah, you can't use that. So serrated is usually for breads. It can be for tomato, but actually this works really well for tomato. Actually, when this is sharp, this is better than for a tomato. So, but yeah, so the serrated, you're gonna have to send that to a professional sharpener or, you know, yeah. So,
Yeah, we have the Cutco and
yeah,
I like the serrated for cutting vegetables. Somehow I got used to that.
yes, okay, that's fine. And if you handle it well, so do you have a chef's knife?
Yes. I do.
Is it bigger than this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that might be, you're just being able to handle. Is it the serrated one that's like this long?
Uh-huh.
That one is good. I have one of those. That's golden. So, and that one tends to keep pretty sharp being Cutco.
Yeah.
I find those are really good. So if it's sharp, you're doing good. You're not destroying and smushing the cells of the plant. You're able to go faster. So,
It's too sharp. I was cutting myself almost every day. Yeah, I got a new knife because
yeah,
my tip was gone.
okay,
So now I'm used to it.
okay,
I like it.
sure.
I do.
Good. Well, then you've got the right knife for you. So good question. So yes. Okay. Now a reminder that you're choosing to do this. You don't have to, it's not I should. It's not I have to do this. This is, I choose to, I get to. And when you start to change that talk in your head, it really lightens things up and changes things. So you get to come to class and learn things. You get to try out other things. Okay. We're not comparing to others. We're just saying, hey, it's amazing. I have another day. I'm going to learn about healthy, delicious food. And it's going to give me vitality and strength and fighting power and longer, longevity and health, health span. So, just revel in that. So, and just watch your language because it is easy to start, well, I should eat more vegetables. I'm supposed to. Instead, I get to try out these things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So it just really makes it. And once you, like anything else, once you really change your mindset, you become lighter and it becomes easier and it doesn't become this like drudgery and it doesn't take as long. It doesn't seem as long. You look forward to it and you go through it with a whole different energy.
Craving.
Yes. So it's completely different. Okay.
Or just watch your language. I was like, I curse at my fridge sometimes.
Yeah.
She knows.
Well, we always catch ourselves and we just go, okay, that's a thought. I'm going to switch it up. So yeah, no, don't get mad at yourself. So yes. So yeah. So tell me, anybody think of what from the first class, we'll go back to the first class. What are the key principles? So what are the 4 things that I over and over when you take my classes that I say everybody that really wants to make this into a journey, that really wants sustainable health, what must you implement?
Use color in your foods.
Well, color is very good. So these are ones like being open-minded. Remember, I did be the scientist, be open-minded, explore. Today, we're going to be open-minded with the wraps and with the tofu. So do you remember anything else? Baby steps, small baby steps. It really works, guys. So I'm making some changes in other places in my life and I am like, it's like taking hold finally. I wanted it to happen overnight, this part of my life, but I finally gave up pushing so hard and said, just take baby steps. Just play around with it. It's not going to happen overnight. And things are happening. Things are implementing. Things are happening in the big step way, but they're baby steps that add up to the big step. And you might not even realize until you take a moment to go, wow, I have made a lot of changes. A lot of things are different than they were a couple months ago or a month ago or 4 weeks ago. So baby steps, self-compassion. So being kind to yourself, okay? We berate ourselves so much. So be kind to yourself. You've got a lot on your plate that you're doing. You're here, you're listening, you're trying things out. So this is hard work, guys. You know, most people do have, struggle with it. But if they keep up with it and put into practice the things that you learn in this class, you will move forward and you will see changes in your health. Have fun. Last one, have fun. And that really is the mindset piece too. Look for things that you enjoy with prepping the food, with eating and sitting. Do you have candles? Do you have napkins? Do you have, special plates? All that stuff is really important. So, I know some of these things you may not be able to make changes overnight, but just whatever you can do, having actual folded napkins or sitting down and, and creating a nice place to sit down and actually sit down and enjoy. So next week, we're going to talk about mindful eating and really connecting with our food and our body. So you can put that, but really just how can you make it something that you enjoy? All these pieces that go in. Okay. So let's hop into our topic today, plants. What's the big deal about plants? I am, thank you. Yes, thank you. I forgot the other day. So
Be up on the screen.
we are going to, let's see, it should, is it not up on the screen right now?
Blank.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's see here.
Anyone?
It's
Having
on.
virtually? No?
Yeah. The
Okay.
one.
Yeah, we can see.
How weird. Okay. So let's see if we can get this. Okay, let's see. Did that go on? Is it anything up there?
It went
No,
up.
no.
It came on.
Teams came up, but not the.
Oh, okay. Let's go. Let's try, see here. Is that showing anything?
No.
Oh, I think something's happening with the click share. Okay. So, okay. So I'm gonna have to keep going because I might have to restart. It's a communication between that and this. I'll try one more thing. So,
Do you want me to go grab the other picture?
well, I don't think it's that. Sometimes it's just the communication in the ceiling and so let me. Nothing? Okay, let me turn
Oh,
the.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
The page.
Okay, good. Okay, yay, yay, thank you, thank you, thank you. Whoever, however.
One minute.
Oh, no. Oh, okay, somehow this is like slow. Did that go on?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead. So our quote for the day is, even in this high-tech age, the low-tech plant continues to be the key to nutrition and health. It really is. The plant is the key. Seems so basic, simple answer is actually going to bring you the health that you are wanting. So what does plant focus mean to you? Plant focused eating. What does it mean to you? What comes to mind?
Healthy, health.
Okay, healthy.
Vegetables.
Just produce, putting vegetables first.
Putting vegetables first. Yeah, awesome. And you're learning a lot about that. So here you have that chart. You've seen this before. So just a refresher there, 75% at minimum plants, 75%. It can be 100, but at least 75%. So who has eaten a meal lately that they can recall that's 100% plants?
Like salads.
Salads? Okay.
Anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
anything, everything.
Uh-huh.
I'm happy.
We have all lentils and rice and everything fine.
Yes. Awesome. Okay, great. Awesome. Lots of gifts in there. So can you recall maybe breakfast?
Breakfast for sure, I was thinking about.
Yeah, yeah. What's that? Yogurt? Yes, Vicky. So yes, that's good. That's good. So you've got some in there. So, there's probably some areas that we can work on, especially with the half vegetables and fruits, but that's what you're here for. So here's how plant-focused eating is broken down to different categories. I just kind of want to touch on this because this is typically a conversation brought up. These are categorizations. So from vegan to lacto-vegetarian, which allows the dairy, the ovo, which allows the eggs, and the lacto-ovo, and then the pesco, which brings in the fish, and the flexitarian. And technically, I'm probably a flexitarian. I don't intentionally eat meat, but I have family members that do. And so if they make dinner, I will have just a couple bites of the meat, and then eat a lot of the vegetables and grains. But this is really, some people find it nice to think of how they eat in a category. Like, I eat pesco vegetarian or eat vegan. And you don't have to stick in one category, okay? But for some people, that kind of gives them boundaries. So they want to be, that's a label they want to be known as for themselves. That's fine. But I just want you to know, you don't have, any of these categories can be optimal health. So these are, you just might see yourself right now in one, but I don't want to say that one is better than the other. Okay, so going into kind of what the benefit of plants. So phyto means plant, P-H-Y-T-O. It's a Greek word for plant. So it's, we usually think of, plants, they have fiber, they have vitamins and minerals. That's probably what they're good for. Well, it's way bigger than this, okay? So phytochemicals, and I use the word phytochemicals, there's phytonutrients on there. Some people use that. The problem I have with that is the word nutrients. They're not really nutrients. We don't need them to live, but they help us be healthy. So that's where I just call them phytochemicals. So it's nothing made in the in the lab. It's just Mother Nature. So there's thousands of these phytochemicals, thousands. Most every fruit or vegetable has 1,000 at least to 2,000. An apple has 10,000. Okay. So what are these phytochemicals? They are defense systems from the plant. They're antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, enzyme modulators, so that they help speed up processes and slow down processes that need, according to the conditions. So they're antibacterial. So now they do, and what happens is, for us, they help prevent cancer, they help prevent heart disease, they help prevent dementia and other things. So think of phytochemicals as home security systems, that their fire department, their police department, their emergency response, Coast Guard, all that rolled into one. Because what happens is a plant, it starts as this teeny tiny little seedling, and then with some water and soil and sunlight, it starts to sprout and grow, and then it pours down rain for a couple days, wind, it still finds a way to continue to grow. Okay, it might kind of wilt a little bit for the rainstorm, but afterwards the sun comes out, it's going to find a way to continue to grow. And so all these things, we have radiation from the sun, we're coming into our hotter months. The plants, they don't have anywhere to, go in shade. They don't have any sunscreen to put on, no sunglasses to put on. There's no umbrella, raincoat for the rainstorms. There's no, when the pollution comes along, they have to figure out how to deal with that. They can't hold their breath. So, and they stay in the same place. Yeah, I know these are basics. You're like, yeah, Teresa, it doesn't, yeah, they don't move. But I'm making the point that they have to weather all these things and still grow and still eventually bear whatever it is, their blossom, their fruit. Pretty amazing. So, when you see the brown stuff on the leaf, you might come back a week later and it's healed over and grow. I mean, it repairs itself. It has to ward off pests. Yeah, otherwise, rabbits and deer would gobble them all up. I know that sometimes it is a problem, but they have defense systems, and these defense systems and healing powers, repair powers, are what we eat, and then we get on a micro level, but they really add up. There's free radicals from the ultraviolet, from the pollution, from the injuries to them. They get damage to the DNA, and they would just die if they didn't have a way to repair. And they do, and that's what the antioxidants, the anti-inflammatory. So the color, taste, and smell of plants, that's not just for prettiness. There's really purpose in each one of those. So it really comes down to their defense systems. So it's just pretty amazing how Mother Nature has found a way to protect and make it grow. So we get this when we eat it. So we get the neutralization of the free radicals, the antioxidants. We get the enzyme modulators. We get the antibacterial from the onion and stuff like that. So we get green is chlorophyll, which is a great toxin pollution cleanup. So the bright red is really great antioxidants, and there's well over 100 antioxidants. So we need different ones. Cancer has 10 different steps that's in common to all cancers. Well, you can't, there's no one thing that hits all those steps. There's different ones that hit on this step and that step. And so we need a variety of them. So, okay. Now, fiber is one thing that we find only in plants. And here it is. So fiber has soluble and insoluble. There's two different types. They come together. They're always together in Whole Foods. And they have different functions. We are finding out that they work best together, though, even though they kind of have two separate functions. So, and one is kind of like the sponge and absorbs water. That's like your oats, your soluble fiber. Oats, beans have a lot of it. Some vegetables and seeds, some vegetable fruits, everything has a little bit. And what it does is it sucks a lot of water, and then it creates a gel kind of like the oatmeal or the chia seeds. If you've ever done overnight oats, it hangs on to it. So that gel slows down the breakdown of glucose into your bloodstream. So it's a much more even rise in the blood glucose, anything carb or sugar that's in what you just ate. So it really is great for controlling blood sugar. It doesn't matter if you have diabetes or not. It's really good. Everybody needs to have a more controlled kind of release. So the other thing is the soluble fiber does grab onto cholesterol that's in the food. Now you make 4 times, so that's not going to resolve everything with our cholesterol. The other thing it does is when it gets the large intestine, it grabs onto some bile and then excretes it. And bile is something that we use to break down fats. But what happens is when you grab onto it in the large intestine and excrete it, your liver takes notice because your liver makes bile and says, oh, we need more bile. And one of the components of bile is cholesterol. So your liver grabs cholesterol from the bloodstream. So you can see that that's another way that we keep this balance of cholesterol in the bloodstream. So those are some good things there. Now, insoluble fibers like wheat bran and whole grains, it's more known as bulk. It doesn't create that bulk it bulks, but it doesn't create the gel. So what it does also is it scrapes the sides really well. So it's really good for keeping things moving. And that's where the muscles of the intestines help with constipation. So you really if you don't move it, you lose it, muscles. Well, your intestines are the same way. By the insoluble fiber, you're going to force your intestines to contract, and it's going to move things along and keep things steady, and your stool moving and in a good consistency. So, so those are really great things. That's why I use this green sponge, because it's kind of thinking this is the combination of fiber. And even though it sounds like they have two totally separate functions, we do find they're much better together. So that's where we want to get them in whole foods. Now, some heart health specific things. We do know it decreases the LDL, the fiber does, like I just talked about. There's polyphenols that in many of your plant compounds that help your artery health. We've talked a little bit about that. They're naturally low in sodium, low in saturated fat. A lot of fruits and vegetables are high in potassium, and actually you want high potassium to sodium. And if we could do that, I think our blood pressure actually would be, it'd be, you know, we need to get the sodium down some, but we really need to boost the potassium. So that's where you find the DASH diet does really well with hypertension, because it's a lot of fruits and vegetables. So it's increasing the potassium. So it's not that hard to find potassium. Of course, we think of it bananas, but bananas, tomatoes can outdo bananas, and orange can outdo bananas. You know, they have potassium in them. So there's a lot of things with potassium. So just by getting half vegetables and fruits, you're going to get your potassium up there. You're going to lower your blood pressure. So protein, a lot of people are afraid that they're not getting enough protein. So really not true. Today we're going to talk about tofu, which has a good amount of protein. We typically get way too much protein. Okay, you only need about 0.8 grams per kilogram. I know we don't, that's kind of the number that's always put out there. I know it's about 2.2, I think, pounds per kilogram. Maybe 1 at the most, but most of us are getting close to 2.5. So grams of protein per kilogram of weight, body weight. So we don't, that's excess. And what happens is actually each meal or each snack, each time you eat, you can't absorb more than 20 to 30. I don't care how bulked up you are, you can't absorb. So, you know, tinier, petite stature people are probably going to be more on the 20 grams per kind of eating, and then 30 grams at the most. So anything but beyond that in your meal, it's just going to be changed over to carb probably, or fatty acids. So it's not going to, and it's not that hard for your body to do that. So, so it will do that. So beans have a lot, quinoa, remember, edamame, those are other things, nuts. So those are all things that have, you know, just adds up easily. So vitamins and minerals, these are ones that we do want to kind of keep an eye out for, especially when we get vegan. Vitamin B12, I do take a vitamin B12 supplement. I asked my doctor to test me, and she basically said, just take a supplement. I'm like, okay. So I would have rather preferred, but it's one of these things that probably, because I tend to eat a lot of close to vegan, I'm probably deficient in vitamin B12. I get my supplement from Trader Joe's. I take that. I do take vitamin D too. I did have that one tested, because vitamin D is all over the map for how you absorb it, how well. So you might be really deficient or a little deficient, and then you take 5,000 units or 10,000 units a day, and it might just not hardly make a mark in your vitamin D, levels. So really, vitamin D, and my doctor agreed with me. We had my levels taken. I was deficient, and then I had my levels taken again. I'm still good, so I backed down, but I'm still taking every day some vitamin D.
During winter time. Down.
Oh, it's impossible when you're in our area to be getting enough vitamin D. So, and then there's individual variance that happens. So even if you're outside, like in the cold weather, you know, there are some women in my neighborhood that walk outside. It's just, we're not high enough above the equator to get the sun that will convert the vitamin D in our skin. So even if you can bear it, you're not going to get it. So, and you need to be outside getting it. And some of us, you know, kind of cover up a lot, put a lot of sunscreen on, which is good for one reason, but we do need to get vitamin D. And we do find vitamin D is linked to way more than just bone health, which many years we used to in school be taught calcium and vitamin D for bone health. Yes, but they're in hormones, they're in a lot of things. So calcium for some people, especially milks, if they're doing rice milk or almond milk or soy, unless it's fortified with calcium, they don't really have a lot of calcium. Now, tofu has calcium, but soy milk doesn't necessarily. And iron's another thing that, especially if you're female, menopausal, iron is something that sometimes we need to watch for. Okay, so speaking of milks, so again, rice, almond, coconut are, well, I didn't say this. Those ones are low in protein, rice, almond, and coconut, okay? So a lot of people don't realize that. So, and some females, they're, not eating a lot of maybe protein, and they're thinking they're getting their protein from their milk. Well, if you're not doing soy has protein, or dairy, then you're not getting your protein. Now for calcium, the dairy is the big one there. So now coconut, for some reason, coconut still, I don't know, the coconut industry just loves this because everybody thinks coconut, not everybody, but many people think coconut is good for you. It's not, okay? It's saturated. It's a long saturated fatty acid. So our research clearly says only in the case of if you were going from eating probably beef, a lot of beef saturated fat, and you switch to coconut, then maybe your LDL would go down a little bit, okay? But that's not the case for the people that are attending these classes, okay, for the most part. And that's not far enough down, okay? You need to go down to eating without the coconut milk. Okay, so coconut actually has 5 grams of saturated fat per cup, and whole milk only has 4.5 grams. So it's higher in saturated fat. So we just don't have any research supporting that coconut milk is a healthy alternative. So I don't have it in my house. It's not like I'm scared of it. It's not like lard, but it just, I try and make recipes and make dishes without it. Yes, I would love to make some with it because I love coconut flavor, but I just choose to stay away. Okay, organic versus conventional, dirty dozen clean, 15. We hear a lot about this. I just want to clear up. First of all of these are way below the EPA, like dangerous pesticide kind of limits. Also, anything that's organic, there's an organic definition, and I don't want to beat up organic, but they use some pesticides, okay? They can. So I'm not saying that they're trying to do bad things, but, and actually we find there's more nitrates in conventional grown produce than organic. And nitrates are needed for blood pressure and for the nitric oxide. And, so the bottom line is, for most of us, it's not going to be feasible to do organic. First of all, it's not available in all the things we're eating. And second of all, I can't afford it, okay? So, but I don't lose sleep over the fact that I'm getting strawberries that are traditional. I'll look at the price and go, I can't. So, and I'll go for the traditional. So I really have no fear, because you're talking, you need all the good stuff in the fruits and vegetables, okay? So you're getting a barge full of great stuff, and so there is a little bit of, when we talk about, benefit and harm, there is a little bit from the pesticide, but not really anything that I'm going to be concerned about. My body's healthy and it's going to work with it. Okay. So, I mean, we can get into some, other things, about the environment and stuff like that. I'm not well versed on that. I read it and I respect it. But, when we're talking about nutrition, the bottom line is just eat lots of fruits and vegetables. So, I don't lose sleep. These are, the dirty dozen list. They just, there's not really any good technique, methodology that they use when they pick their produce that they do. Strawberry tends to always come on top, and it makes for a great article. It's one of those things that it really feels that way. And I've had one of my family members years ago, she came to me and she's like, she had heard it on probably Dr. Oz or something like that. So about something like this. And she's like, I'm not going to eat fruits and vegetables because the dirty dozen. I'm like, really? Oh my goodness. That is so not the point. So just, be careful. Fear is a big motivator for us doing irrational things. So, okay. So how do we get more plants? So I'm going to give you 6 strategies now. So I don't want you to employ 6 at all. I want you to look at 1 or 2 and just say, hey, okay, that's going to be easier for me to do. So figure out what's going to be easiest. So first one is start not talking about your meals as the meat. Okay, tonight we're having chicken. Okay, so that's what we tend to do. We're just trying to do that. So instead, okay, we're having salmon sushi bowl or a naked burrito bowl. Okay, start putting, or we're having Dijon kale salad. What else? Well, I'll figure it out. Okay, so start making that the centerpiece. Okay, so we really should be eating 75% plants, even if you do have an animal protein there. So stock your kitchen zones with plant food. So we've talked about this in class 2 last week, but really start thinking about, and there's those there's like 1 page or 2 pages with a whole list of things to think about keeping in your pantry and refrigerator and freezer, because you got to have it there if you're going to start getting creative and doing these things. So what kind of things, in the freezer, we've got frozen veggies, quinoa, beans, edamame, fruit, refrigerator, of course, fruits, veggies, ready to go, salsa, tofu, tempeh at eye level, pantry, beans, nuts, seeds, spices, no added salt, tomato and beans, and chili powder and dried fruit and nut butters and nutritional yeast and olives and olive oil and oats. The countertop, fruit bowl, tomatoes, avocado, and nothing else, or onions maybe. So strategy 3 is just start adding more veggies to dishes that you make. It's called veganizing, doing some swaps or just adding more. You might have to bulk up the spices then. Easy peasy ones are chili, adding more veggies. Add to stir fries, tofu, edamame, chopped mushrooms in place of the meat. Probably need to, increase the spices. Mushrooms are a great way. They're kind of meaty in flavor. So that's a great one to add in there. You do have the moisture, but they really do perform a lot like ground beef or walnuts, actually, kind of are ground meatish if you chop them up. Nutritional yeast in place of Parmesan cheese. So we've always got that here if you want to try that out. So soya, let's see. Oh, that is something in there. So you don't know it yet, but soya is up there. See if you can find soya in the packages. It's not a real, it's just the package top, like the products.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. See, so I'll show you what this is. So it's in place of meat. So it's, and then egg alternatives. You have flax egg and chia egg. So many recipes you can do that in place of. It's usually a 1-to-3 ratio. 1 tablespoon of the chia or the flax seed to 3 tablespoons water, 3-4 tablespoons roughly. Let it stand for about 10 minutes. So I've been stuck here with those cookies that we made the first class many times. I made them both with flax and chia because I'm like, shoot, I forgot the eggs. So, and it's turned out fine. So yeah, those are easy. Now, not everything you can do that, but in a lot of products, you can just substitute that. So, just, strategize in your doing your meal prep and prepping more plants so that you do your your bulk for the week. Can you wash and trim your hearty veggies and just have them in baggies or containers ready to go? Buy broccoli florets. There you go. Buy leafy greens and use the paper towel tip to put on the end so they'll last all week or longer. I usually have my romaine lettuce last almost 2 weeks if I put the damp paper towel over the stem right when I get home from the grocery store from Aldi. So, batch cook a grain. Like quinoa is fantastic. Brown rice tonight, you can do that for the whole week. You can do smoothie bags or jars for breakfast or lunch. Just add the non-dairy milk in the AM or a little bit to thin it out if you use Greek yogurt like we do in the Cooking with Diabetes classes. roast a whole tray of veggies and have those throughout. They'll last all week easily. Batch cook hummus, cauliflower steamed and then cooled. That will last all throughout the week. So, just figure out what works. There's some salads that I make that do really well for 3-4 days. Okay, then start making one meal per day as 100% plants. You can start with breakfast. For some, that's the easiest. Overnight oats, oatmeal, chia puddings. There's different ones there. Tofu scramble with veggies. Lunch, you can do stir fries, hummus lettuce wraps with veggies. We're going to do that today. Roasted veggies with beans and salad. Vegetable soup. We're going to do some soups next week. Dinner, you can do chili with veggies. You can do soya. We're going to do with, I'm going to show you that in a second, with tacos and bowls. You can do quinoa, stir fry, veggie burgers. So all kinds of things that you can just make one meal a day, all veggie. So, and the last thing is just sneak more in, just add more in, whether you're not, just add more in. A smoothie, you can easily add kale or spinach. For a dessert, you can switch out and have strawberries with yogurt and dark chocolate chips. You can do a sandwich without meat. Tacos with beans and avocado and salsa and lots of veggies. So all kinds of ideas there. So just start, what is the easiest way for you to start just looking at more plants, more plants, more plants. Okay, so we've got the action steps there. I want to just kind of, while you're looking at the action steps, I want to share with you the benefits of what happens when you start to transition to eating plant-based whole food. Okay, so what I mean, on day one, if you do one whole day of plant-based whole food, you're going to feel full sooner so that you don't eat as much food quantity-wise. You're going to stay fuller longer because of the vegetables, the water, and the fiber in there, and the whole grains and beans that you're eating. And less than 5% of Americans are eating enough fiber. Okay, so that's day one. Now, if you go for a whole week, plant-based whole food, you'll be in a better mood, have more energy because you're eating whole food, not processed. So it's not stripped of many of the nutrients. You'll be more productive because you'll have energy, and even keel energy. You'll have more phytochemicals, so more nutrients. You'll be less stressed, less depressed, and you'll have more sustainable energy throughout the day. Better blood sugars. You'll have more diverse gut bacteria from all the plants, so you'll have a healthy metabolism going on there, lower body fat, better health. Within a few weeks, your cholesterol will start to drop. You'll get LDL going down, HDL up, blood pressure will improve. That's because the salt goes down and the potassium goes up. You might sleep better because the tryptophan regulates your sleep hormones from the plants. In a month, on average, people will lose 4.4 pounds without even trying, just switching to plant-based whole foods. So those are some things that definitely will happen. So this last weekend was Mother's Day, wasn't it? It's like, okay. So Mother's Day, my daughter, she made me French toast from white bread. So I haven't had French toast in a long time. I love French toast, but I just don't. I love my oatmeal too. So, but she was like, "Mom, stop. Okay, don't go in the kitchen." So I'm making something for you. So she knows I love French toast. So of course, I hadn't made my oatmeal. She's like, "You haven't had breakfast yet?" I'm like, "No, I usually get up and kind of, enjoy my Sunday morning." So, so she made that and I sat down and enjoyed it. So it was delicious. However, half an hour later, I'm like, I'm hungry again. 2 pieces I had. I'm like, usually the oatmeal will take me like 4 hours and then before I start getting hungry. And this came on pretty quick. I was like, I'm hungry. I need something. So before I went to church, I had to eat something else. So, and even that whole day, I felt a little off because I didn't have that oatmeal that really just gives me, it just really, and it helped me notice that, wow, I don't want to have French toast again. I mean, I will, if, Mother's Day, I will make the exception if my daughter makes it for me, but I don't like that. And I get hungry, but it's a slow, gradual thing. I notice it. And next week we'll talk more about that. But I don't get hangry. I don't, because I don't let myself get that. And my blood sugar is not going all over the place because I have a lot of plants. And what I'm eating.
Thing like that.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter if you're healthy or not. That is just not good for your body. So yeah, okay. So we're going, start thinking about the action steps as we get going here. I'm going to and then I'm going to share the soya there that Tanya got out for me. So I want to okay. So yeah, about 3. Yay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So unfortunately, this is something you have to special order. So, but it is pretty cool, especially if you're transitioning. So all it is fat-free soy flour. That is it. I think one of them has some food coloring added to it, but it actually comes in like astronaut bags. So it's like good for like 6 months or something. You have to order. It comes from Canada. I don't know why we don't carry it here. Maybe, maybe, I don't know. I haven't checked for sure at Fresh Thyme, but so it doesn't have any flavor, but they look just like, this looks just like ground beef. Okay. So it comes out of that. So it would be great in chili and stuff like that. This looks just like chicken nugget kind of stuff. And this looks like fajita. It really does. Now it doesn't have flavors, so you're going to have to add flavors, spices. So, for some people, they're coming from very meat-oriented upbringing, okay? And I know in this area we have farmers too. So this is a great transition. So it is a little expensive to do all the time. And it's something also if you're entertaining and you've got some very hesitant attendees, family or friends that are like, okay, she's doing that thing where she's like not eating meat. So now my mom, I think I've mentioned, she had 5 cancers, first one at 52. And so she changed her eating the day she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so that was 30 years ago here in this area. So not easy to be vegetarian, okay? And to continue with your social life and all that. So, and, we have family get-togethers with some family that probably never will be, vegetarian. So, and that's fine. You don't have to be optimally healthy, but I don't think that's the point. I think there's a lot of processed in their eating habits. But so they would come over and there is no way they would touch anything that was healthy, so she would make 2 batches of things. And she would say, this is the meat and this is the non-meat. And guess what they were saying? They don't know. Yep, they just that psychology. But you need something like this so that people are like, okay, there's meat and they're good. So you can use crumbles. Crumbles is something, and then there's some other ones. Crumbles has been a long Morningstar. It's been around the longest. That was something my mom used. Crumbles is what I call moderately processed. Okay, this is pretty close to minimally. I mean, it's just that it's a little. I mean, the point is for most people that are here, they're trying to go to vegetarian, so they're not going to keep with this forever. So someday they're going to be like, I don't need to throw that in. So, but maybe they like the texture. So some people do like that meaty texture. So, but crumbles and those meat Beyond Beef, or what are some of the other ones?
Ultra burgers.
Yeah, those things. If you look at the ingredient list, they're processed. Okay, so they're a good transitional. It's like, okay, I want, and sometimes, I have at home some of the vegetarian burgers just for those days when I'm like, I just can't, I'm so spent right now. We just need something that I can have on the table in 5 minutes. So sometimes I'll pull those out. It's really in a blue moon, not even once a month, but they're there in the freezer. They last forever. So, these are something to consider. So, but I just want you to know that these are possible. Thank you. So they're pretty cool. So, okay, let's switch camera and get going because we have some really fun wraps. Oh, actually, before we do, because I want to catch you guys on screen, I want to talk about tofu. So, where's my tofu? Is here. So, okay, tofu. So, does anybody know what tofu is made from? Soybeans, yes. So, you know how many ingredients are in tofu? Water and soybeans, and then the enzyme that coagulates the soybeans. So calcium sulfate is the most common in the brick one. So that's it. If you count water, it's 3 ingredients. If you don't count the water, it's 2, soybean and the enzyme. That's it. So this is curdled soybeans. Curdled soy, they kind of make it into a liquid, so you can call it soy milk. So what else do we know that's curdled milk? Like cheese, yogurt, yeah. So those kind of things are, I call them cousins to tofu, okay? So now you may disagree with me. I've had somebody say, well, that's the cousin we don't like, tofu. But it really is, it's minimally processed. It really is way over there to me. So that's one of the great points about it. So now it's been around forever. So it's just something that we're not used to. Most of us didn't grow up on. It's used in other cultures. It's super inexpensive. It's high in protein. So I'm just gonna pour off the water there so you can see what this brick is. So it's high in calcium, this one is, because the calcium sulfate injects in it a lot of calcium. So it's a good source of calcium. So it's grayish white, off-white. So it is kind of ugly color. It's spongy, which for texture, especially people that are really texture, some people are really texture, that's like, ooh. But we can change that texture. Just like, you know, have you ever gotten out some raw ground beef? It's pretty ew. So, you know, so we change it. We change the texture. So, you know, the Han Dynasty used tofu. Okay, that's how old it is. So Benjamin Franklin, he discovered it on some of his voyages and he loved it. It's just, we don't know the mystery. It's just it's this kind of weird thing that we don't know the mystery for. The great part is it has no flavor. It really doesn't. If I started to eat this, it would be like eating a sponge. So, so you need to add flavor, but we first usually get the water out. There's water in here. That's part of the process. So we need to get the water out. So one of the best ways, oh, can you grab one of those paper towelish things, washcloth things? So typically the best way actually, and we aren't allowed to have dish towels here, so, but let's pretend this is a dish towel. So for those at home, I'm gonna, actually let me switch so you can see this, because this is actually important that you see this. How to, oh, I lost that. Okay, so you need to get the water out. And this is a trick that actually my daughter taught me like in the last year. Forever and ever, I won't talk about what I've done forever and ever, but if you look online, you can get a tofu squeezer or something like that. Forget it, you don't need it. So what I typically do is I'll just cut this into 8, usually it's kind of like meatloaf, usually 4 and 4. So, and then I usually will take out a cutting board, and on my counter, because this is a plant, we don't need to worry about it, I will set these on a towel. And if I do 2 bricks, which I often do 2 bricks in my bulk prep, I'll just spread it out further, and you know, I can have them close together. And then, well, usually I put another one on top. So grab another one. Yeah, let's grab another one. Let's do this so you can see. Okay, so, but you're basically wrapping this, but we're going to get more surface area is what we're trying to do. And then here's the trick that's so great. We put a cutting board on, and then we grab dishes in the cupboard and we put it on there. And in 30 minutes, you've got enough squeezed out. Okay, you can leave it longer, but I'm telling you, this is all you need to do. 30 minutes, it's pretty much every single recipe on the internet. This is how much squeezing you need to do. So it's super simple. Some people will, I used to balance like on a baking sheet on top with dishes on top of the brick, and it'd be like this. And no, we just cut it. We got more surface area. It's flat. It's magic. So, so we get it out so that we can then marinate essentially and put flavoring in it. Okay. Now I will actually, a lot of times, like for lunch, I had sauteed tofu. Like, I didn't add any marination. I was lazy. So on the weekend, I do 2 bricks where I just saute them, but I have sauces like the hoisin sauce that we're gonna do tonight. And I have, in your bonus recipes, you have the Bibimbap bowl. That sauce is really good. I have that in a squeeze bottle. And sometimes I'll put that on my tofu and my roasted veggies, but that's what I had, 2 slabs of this and roasted veggies. And, you know, that was part of my lunch, dinner, whatever tonight. So, but I cheat a little bit because you do need to add flavor, but I know I'm going to add my sauce. So you really don't want to eat tofu sauteed. It's like nothing. It's just got a different texture. So it's not spongy anymore, but it still tastes like nothing. So you can marinate it. I do have, when I'm like thinking and planning and have the time and make the time, I do have a kind of a marinade with a little bit of soy sauce and rice vinegar and lemon that I will put on it and then bake it. And then I'll have that for the week. So, sometimes I'm just like, I'll just saute it. So a lot of times I'll just like leave my tofu draining like on the counter, a place where I don't need for all my other prep. I'll just leave it for like 4 hours out. Not that I'm trying to, I'm just like, I'll get to that before I go to bed. So, so it's usually one of the last bulk things I do is cook up the tofu. So, okay. So now why I have been doing tofu for, no joke, for probably 25 years at least. And that is because my mother-in-law is Filipino, grew up in the Philippines. Her husband is Filipino missionary, Seventh-day Adventist. Seventh-day Adventist is vegetarian, pretty close. I mean, if you're following there, and he's conservative pastor in Seventh-day Adventist. So their first mission assignment was Laos 50 years ago, remote Laos. So imagine what she had to do for food. Okay. So I've seen her make raisins from grapes and gluten balls and 400 spring rolls. And, she's amazing. She's 96 now. But she taught me from early on in my marriage, to, just be comfortable with tofu. So she has it probably 5 times a week. I probably have it now easily 4 or 5 times a week. So it's just so easy. It's an easy meat. It's cheap, as a protein. So we're used to it. The kids are used to it. My kids are normal junkies, teenage kids. They're, that's the culture they live in, that they're bombarded with. But at home, they're very comfortable with tofu. So it's a very simple dinner that I'll do sometimes for the dinner. So with a grain and a couple vegetables. So, but it is something that you just get used to, and you seek out things to marinate it with and sauces to put with it. And the other night I drained it, and then I did make a sauce, and then I tossed it in cornstarch. A very common thing is to use 1 tablespoon per brick when you do it in cubes, and we'll have one recipe tonight in cubes. Toss it in the cornstarch, because that really it changes the texture. It sucks a lot of the moisture, and it changes the texture to a harder. So if you like a really more like fried outside, cornstarch is the way to go instead of frying it. So, and then you can bake it or air fry it. So it's just like meat in the way that you figure out what texture you like. And then do you like yours medium rare, well done, so you just kind of figure that out, because you're probably not going to like one of the textures. You'll be like, ooh, I need that a little more of that or a little less that. So you can crumble it up and put it in soups. It will take on the flavor in the broth of soups. So there is a different type of tofu too. And I just want to introduce you to that. And you can't really, it's sometimes in Hy-Vee, it's not in Walmart, but Hy-Vee hides it and they never know where it is. So I usually go to that nature store or Fresh Time to get it, because I know easily where it is. This is called Japanese silken, sometimes it's called Japanese because it's used in the Japanese culture. Silken, it's also called. So if anybody says you need silken or Japanese, and the only brand I ever find in the US is Morinu, so you could even call it that. There is soft, firm, and extra firm. The difference in both, when you say firm, soft, extra firm, is just the water content. I typically will grab for the highest firm, but if they don't have, if they're out of the extra firm, I just grab the firm. I don't really notice that big difference, honestly, but I wouldn't get soft. Soft has the most water, and usually with the brick, I want it a crispier outside. This is actually coagulated with a different enzyme. Okay, it's a glucodelta lactone, calcium chloride. Doesn't have quite as much calcium, I find. Still has some, but not quite as much. But this one actually has more water, but because of the enzyme, it actually hangs on to it really well. You can't drain it, squeeze it out. So what it is, it's great for making dips, custard, smoothies. It just makes it thick. It's like a thickener that it blends right in there. You actually can make to die for cheesecake, and I'm not joking with this. So you have a recipe for pumpkin pie. I've had many people say they make that and they couldn't tell the difference. So this is what it's really good for. And then usually some will call for this to break up into soup. So it's either one you can use. I would use a softer one probably of the brick if I was breaking it up and putting it into soup. So
is it taking place of like cream cheese? Is that what the dip?
Yes.
Out?
Yes. So it has no flavor, but it really is great at like the cream cheese texture. Like really, like if you use it in a smoothie, you'll be like, wow, I can put this upside down. Like it's just, yeah. So it's great. It makes great dips. It makes great. I have a chocolate pudding.
Kind of like a Dairy Queen.
Yes, yes, yes. So, okay. So hopefully you're a little more comfortable. We're gonna rock and roll and make some recipes with it. So, okay. So let's do the colored wraps. So let me get that started. So let me get the water because we're gonna blanch. We want to blanch.
Other than the hoisin, there was another bit you mentioned.
That's kind of the.
Well, there's the sauce from the Bippy Map bowl. So that one there, the hoisin.
I don't know which one it is.
I call it well, it's peanut poison like.
Oh.
So Bippy Map should be the Bippy Map is back there in the
Baby mask bowl.
yeah. Yeah. So the sauce, yes, is really good. Really good. And the sauce today for the salmon sushi bowl too is also good. It's another one that people are like, ooh, that is really good. We like that. So we use that on other things too. It's only 3 ingredients. Okay, so let me get my everything here. So colored wrap. So this is a new way of a wrap that adds nutrition, a lot of nutrition, and not the usual kind of carb and process that a tortilla would. So here's the colored wraps. So the colored wraps look kind of like, they can actually be much bigger than this. I call them elephant ears. They kind of can be. Now, some of them today are pretty small. I don't know, but we can use this to roll. So, but it's not going to, bend really right now. So we need to blanch it. Blanching, it's going to make it greener. It's going to take off some of the mild edge because it is a little bittery. So, but we need to get the stem a little bit off, not really off. We're not going to try and take it off. But what I'm going to do is just cut off because this is a big leaf. So if it's a small leaf, I'd probably cut less because, if you get the big elephant ear ones, you want to cut them in half because you don't want to roll it 10 times. That's a lot of colored to be taking a bite out of. So, but what we want to do is we want to break this spine. And we could take a paring knife and nicely trim it, but nah, let's have fun. So we're going to take the edge of our chef's knife and go boom, like that. Now I broke it. Okay. So, and then when I blanch it, it's going to be able to make it a little more even usable to roll. So here, I'm just going to cut off that. Yeah, colored wraps. So it's colored wraps, and then we're going to make the hoisin sauce to go with it. So I'm just going to do a couple here. I'm going to blanch once that gets, so I'm going to get my tongs there. So, now if you do want to do tortillas, the tomorrow's is what we recommend. So it's still processed, okay?
Get that, right?
Hy-Vee, it's hidden there. It's usually in the health food section, but they move it, and most of the employees don't even know they have it, but it's usually in the health food section. So it's got about 60 calories, and the carbs is like 12 grams, 7 grams of fiber, so net 5. So, again, it's like this paragraph, so it is processed. Yeah.
Did you repeat the name of the after brand?
Yes. Tomorrow's, Tumaros. So, okay, we're starting to boil. So I'm going to put those in. About 30 seconds. The trick here is don't go down and do your laundry and forget about them. If they're blanching, you want to keep it about 30 seconds. I mean, you won't burn them. Well, if you evaporate all the water, you would. But it's just that 30 seconds is about right. Now, we're going to toss it into some cold ice water. You could, we just need to stop the cooking process. When you get here, you can just leave it in there. It's fine. So you can see how it's getting green here, darker green. So we're going to flip that over. Yes, I know. Okay, can you get some paper towels? It does, it does not like that I just would come floppy there. So that's so that it's off. It actually turned off on me. See, it gets mad at me.
Messy, messy,
I know,
messy.
but if you're not messy when you're cooking, So, okay, so I will just bring it over here and just put those in there. And here you can just leave those. So that's fine. So you can actually bulk prep these for the week. So I have done that. I could do that like 4 days ahead. And I could do 20 of them easily and put them, you just need to put either paper towel or parchment between and then put it in a bag and you put it in the refrigerator. So,
It's in the bowl.
oh, just ice water to stop the cooking. So you just need cold water, very cold water or ice water. So, and then we're just going to take it out and dry it a little bit. So, and we've got the ones over there. Yeah, go ahead and dry that. Thank you. Move this out so you can get some room here. So, okay, so we're gonna make the hoisin sauce to go with that. And this hoisin sauce is really, really good. So, the hoisin sauce, well, it's hoisin-like. Okay, so for years I had hoisin sauce, but hoisin is really high in sodium. And I'm like, oh, I just hate adding even a tablespoon of it. So, and there's only one brand that's like lower, but it's still 900 milligrams of sodium. Okay, that's the lower one. And you have to get Iron Chef. And I'm like, oh, this is silly. So I'm like, let me just try and replace. So that's why I call it hoisin-like. So we used, my secret is using smoked paprika. Smoked paprika with a little bit of either molasses or honey kind of gives it that unique, complex flavor. Hoisin is sweet and salty, but it's also got a complexity to it if you've ever had it before. So I'm sure if we did a taste test, we could notice a difference, but this is still really, really good. So I'm going to make like 5 times the recipe because that's what I usually do because I then put it in a squeeze bottle. Thank you. Go ahead. So I'm just going to make, I think I have 5 times. So I just measured out the ingredients. So we've got a little bit of honey here. That's my hoisin-like. And then I've got the smoked paprika. We've got some ground ginger, of course. You know, typically a lot of Asian sauces will have ground ginger. I do have some Thai sweet chili sauce or a garlic sweet chili sauce. Anything like that is fine. We just need a little bit of some of the, it is sweet. It is sweet, but it's got a little more complexity to it. So you can use this for the other kind of recipes too. So we're going to add a little bit of that. And then we've got the coconut aminos there. So I've got this here. So we've got a good amount of that.
What is coconut aminos?
Well, it's from coconut. It's actually, it's vegetarian. So, but it's lower sodium and it tastes very similar to soy sauce. And actually my girls, they love to cook. They're kind of on the verge of foodies. And when I have this at home, it's funny because they like just soy sauce. So that's their cooking. And so one time recently I only had this. I'm like, guys, this is really just like soy sauce. And they're like, I don't know. And they use that and they're like, it's fine. It's good. So I was like, okay, I passed the test for that. So for them. So it's in the health food section. You can't get it at Walmart. It is definitely more expensive. Hy-Vee, yeah, in the health food section. So, and I'm going to use a whisk to get this with the peanut butter. That's usually what works best.
First bowl.
What's that?
What was in the first bowl? Peanut butter.
Yes, yes. So this is it's a peanut hoisin-like sauce.
So if you're allergic to peanut butter,
Say again.
if you're allergic to peanut
Put
butter.
something else.
Oh, I would then do probably like tahini paste. Yeah. Have you ever had tahini paste? Okay, tahini paste, I wouldn't say it's a substitute for peanut, but if you have a good salad, you're going to pick up like a nutty to it. So it's nice. It's going to be nice. And this has a lot of spices in it, so you're going to have plenty of flavor to carry. I think the tahini would be fine. You are going to, what?
Just do cashew or something else.
You could, is that, yeah. Yeah,
Like almond butter.
yeah, you could do almond butter. Those are fine. So, yep. Okay. Get my exercise, my arms. What?
Did you put the peanut butter?
I did. So you're not gonna be able to do it.
It's not me.
Okay. Are you allergic, Tony?
Yes,
Okay, I was thinking,
I have an allergy.
we are gonna pour this, so it's do your own kind of thing. You can maybe, I don't know if you wanna,
Try whatever. it is.
yeah, exactly. So you can do the hummus. So, okay. So you can see this is liquidy because we just want to, what?
Whatever goes on, I'll just eat separate.
Yes, that will work just fine. So, okay, awesome. You put this on here. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to give you this and then I'm going to take the veggies. So, okay, so we're going to do the wrap now. So I'm going to take, well, actually, I'm going to take one of the wraps that we did earlier. This a little drier. So
You're done with the ice bath, right?
I'm sorry, what's that?
You're done with the ice bath, right?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Let me take a good one. Okay, I'll try with this. This will be interesting. So, okay. So what we're gonna do is take our hummus. So you can make, hummus. You have a recipe in your binder. It's just you have to choose because most of us have limited time. We have to choose. So I choose to get hummus in the store. If you order in a Mediterranean restaurant, do take up on doing hummus. They do it really good. The thing here is I know the olive oil is not going to be EBU, and it's got more salt than I would add. So those are some of the issues, but we know. So I'm going to put a little hummus down, and then I'm going to let me show you then real quick cutting these different things. So I'm going to cut this. You see I peeled and I made it to a manageable length. Don't try and cut into matchstick something this long. Cut it in half. Make it manageable. The first cut is the most dangerous. You just cut near the edge when we're doing matchsticks. You roll it, and now you have a flat edge. So now we can just keep rolling. And then we can stack maybe 2, 3. Don't show off and try and do more than that. So there you go. So I think we've got plenty. So I'm just going to keep going. Yes. So carrots the same way. Make sure you make it to a manageable size. Don't, try and do a really long piece. You just can't manage it with the knife and with the pressure and all that. So we just, make sure you have the flat edge that you're working off of and then chop. We're doing pretty thin. So I do thicker if I was doing kind of snack ones. So the red pepper, real quickly, how to do this, because you cannot graduate from the class without knowing how to do bell peppers. So think of it like a box. It's got a top and a bottom and sides, okay? So we're taking the top off. We're taking the bottom off. We're standing it up. And now we're going to open the side. And now we're going to open it up. And now think of the knife just going this way. So don't think I've got to take off these things because you'll see. Because when you just take the knife, like I'm just sliding, you just get everything. And it's just really nice the way it happens. So there we go. Now we've got our nice that we can just flip over. And a lot of times you just want to flatten it because we want it easy to work with. So, and then we have a sharp knife, then we can really go at it. Now, depending upon what you're doing, how thick you, so I'm going a little thinner. If I was doing my roasted veggies, I would do thicker. So, so there we've got that. We've got mint. I went with mint. You could do mint basil. That's very typical and kind of a spring roll-ish that we're doing. Scallions here. Did I tell you the trick about Parmesan shaker and scallions that you have? Did I tell you? Okay.
In the freezer?
Yes, in the freezer. So yes, so I have it all the time. Now scallions you can, you wrap the end in here. You can take this and put it in like a mason jar and put it in the light, but it doesn't work as beautifully as all the, online articles say that you'll just have scallions forever then, okay? So because it doesn't grow as fast as you'd like, plus I did find out, like, you've got to make sure if you want to do that. I mean, I do that. I have a jar at home, but that's just not enough for me. So I have the frozen too. So you've got to make sure you have roots that you put in the water. And then you put it just up until it starts to change to green. So it just needs to be like an inch or two, the water. I have it next to my sink, far enough away, just get in the way, near the sunlight. And I just change it like every other day. But you also want to trim off these quite a bit, especially first. So I would probably, if you're going to try and grow your scallions, I would trim them down to like there. It's kind of like pruning. You prune it and then it grows. Because what I find when I've got this there, it just starts to wilt. It just starts to go brown. I'm like, really? What did I do wrong? I tried this like 4 times before I seemed to get the sprouts going right. And I had to trim it much more than I thought. I had to make sure I had roots there. So, and then this will sprout out and then you need to use it. You can't let it just go. You need to use it. So pretty regularly and keep pruning it. So if you want to do that, fine, but don't get frustrated if the first time you try it, you're like, it didn't work like it was supposed to. Well, it doesn't always, because they don't always tell you everything that you're supposed to know. So, okay, so we've got our hummus here. We're just going to put that first, and then I'm just going to take small little pieces here because we don't have too much to go with. So I'm just going to put a little bit. You want a little moisture. That's what the cucumber is really nice there. I'm going to put another little piece there. And I love red peppers. I'm one of my absolute favorites vegetables. So I'm going to put a few pieces there. And few pieces of my mint in there to give that some scallion there. And then I'm going to finish off with just spooning a little bit of my sauce here. There we go. And now, let's see, I should be able to wrap it. Well, this is really small. So here we go. So normally if I have a bigger one, I can get it a little bit better, but there we go. And then let me show you, let's see if this will work. So normally I can, well, you can't quite see. It didn't quite turn out, but a little bigger. We need a little bigger leaf than that, but you do it like burrito style. You notice that I did not put the hummus all the way to the end. You put the hummus there, you kind of lay the stuff on top, and you fold, and then roll. Okay, so it rolls really well. You can see there, it's pliable, it's everything. So you guys will get to try it out tonight and roll your own. You can maybe pick a little bigger leaf. There's some bigger ones in there. Can you go through and look for, they don't have to be like huge, but that one was a little on the small side. Okay. The hoisin-like sauce is really nice. It's got zing, you can add it to tofu, to wraps, to bowls, I put it on top of my roasted veggies to give a little more pizzazz. So you're just gonna find all kinds of uses for it. Okay, so next, let's see, what should I do next? Where's my list here? Let's see. Okay, salmon sushi. So let me grab my salmon. So salmon sushi is, we're using our salmon again. So that's really cool that we're getting our omega-3s. So And it's a super easy, quick meal. So, okay, and it's a complete meal. So we're gonna go ahead, let's go ahead and start. I didn't start my rice. So let's get the water going. Let's go ahead and replace that there. We're gonna make our water, so it'll just take a few minutes there. So we're gonna get that going. We're gonna use a minute rice. I've got 2 cups here, 2 cups water. It's gonna make 4 cups. So I'll just, let me actually just, let's see here. This is mock sushi rice, which means I have rice, vinegar, and sugar. So I'm gonna heat that up. I'm making double recipes, just in case you're looking at the proportion going, wow. So we're gonna just dissolve the sugar there. And I'm gonna grab a big bowl. We're gonna make it in a big bowl. So, and the sauce, let me make the sauce in a small bowl. Sauce is 3 ingredients, the ending sauce. It's sriracha. How many of you have used sriracha in cooking? Okay, so it does have sodium, but if we use just a little bit, again, I'm using double, it gives a nice zing. So we're also using the liquid aminos, so coconut aminos, and then lemon, okay? So I squeeze lemon. You can use just jar, but squeeze lemon. Remember, we can use the tongs to just do that. So I'm just going to mix that up. And the combination of sriracha and liquid coconut, liquid aminos and lemon is really it's a really nice combination. So we're going to get that ready.
Yeah, that's what you're not.
Yes, the vinegar you got there. Yes. Okay, so that's ready to go.
You use rice vinegar.
Yep, rice vinegar is like your mildest, and make sure though, this is, ooh, yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's potent.
Yeah. It's not seasoned. So make sure it's not seasoned because they add sodium always when they say it's seasoned. So, okay, I'm going to set that over here because we're still going to have to cook that rice. But you see here, real quick, with the cucumber, I cut that up nice small pieces. Something you can do, let's see, I think we washed the peeler. I was going to show you. No, the peeler, potato peeler.
Nope, I've not seen a peeler.
Okay. Yeah, what did I do with it? Okay. Well, you can make, I don't know if you can tell I made stripes. So what I can do is I can take the peeler down, and make stripes. It just adds color because some people are like, I don't want all the peel, but the peel adds color and adds some, yes, there we go, it's hiding. So here you can just go like that, work your way around. Maybe another one there, and then we go here. So, and then I slice it up. It just adds a little color, yet we've got some of the skin, but not all of it. So there we go. So we're going to add that. Then we have the seaweed. Let me just go ahead and add it in. We stir that real quick. And I'm going to go about 5 minutes over for that. Let's take that down. Go. Okay. So seaweed it's actually not processed. It's minimally processed. So it's one of those way on where we want to be on the spectrum. So
Sodium.
no, even though it tastes like it, it doesn't. So this has 45 milligrams for half a pack. Okay. So basically one whole recipe of this is 45 milligrams because I'm making double. So, and to me, the seaweed tastes a little oily, but it only has 0 grams of saturated fat, okay, for half a pack. So, and actually, if anybody loves potato chips and like the munchies and they want something to eat instead of, I don't mean like it's not exactly like potato chips, but it's crunch, it has a little bit of crunch texture. It does make a mess because it kind of sticks to you. But my daughter actually takes oftentimes one whole pack to school for lunch. These are snacks, and she'll eat the whole thing. So seaweed, my kids love. They've been introduced, of course, through my Filipino in-laws. But it's got amazing iodine. It's got a little bit of omega-3s because seaweed is kind of where the fish get the omega-3s. It's not got a lot, but I'm just saying it's got stuff, trace stuff in there. It's minimally processed. It adds color. It adds texture. So it's, it's a way, it's not going to work for everything, but when you need like croutons or some topping or something, think about that. Or if you just want to snack on something, snack on this. This is minimally processed, going to give you some stuff. It's going to give you fiber, 1 gram. So 2 grams for a whole pack. So, hey, that's pretty good. So I'm just going to actually get everything ready here.
Put the seaweed in the water that you did the rice.
No, so I just crumbled up actually a whole pack here, except for I think one, maybe. I think I left one in there so you can see what they look like. So, yeah. So this is what they are. So if somebody wants to play with it, eat it, take a little bite, you can. So, but you'll get it in here. So it is, when the kids were young, I would feed them this, but I'd be like, go outside, because it makes a mess. It just crumbles. So when you eat it, just be ready for it all over your teeth, and you need to swoosh some water or something. So but I'm just gonna put that in, get that all ready.
All you did with that was crumble it. You didn't
Yep.
have to do anything.
Yep, that's all I did. So the salmon, let's see, the salmon's over there. So the salmon, I just did 2 of these. This is Safe Catch. I like this a lot, Safe Catch. If you want to do tuna, do Safe Catch, because tuna is high in mercury, but Safe Catch actually checks every of their fish and measures it and makes sure it's way below what the standards are supposed to be. So Safe Catch, Wild Planet is another one that you can get that at Walmart, Wild Planet. So
Was that tuna or salmon?
this is salmon actually, but I'm just saying if you wanted to, they do tuna. It's the Safe Catch, it checks the tuna. So
Which is also involved.
no, I don't think so. I got this at Hy-Vee, but a Wild Planet is another good one too. So, okay, so we're gonna put that in there. One of the first times I had this with the family, I brought it to one of those, like when you go to a summer picnic that you bring your own food and you sit in your lawn chair and you listen to some musician group. That's what we did. And I had my my sister or brother-in-law, and he's a farm-raised Wisconsin boy, like dairy farm. He sparked this down. He's not like, he eats. I'm just saying, but he was coming back for seconds with this. So he really liked it. So, okay. So, I'm going to add some, about 2 cups of the shredded carrot. So then again, we've got all these veggies. And we've got a little bit of whole grain. We're going to have there 4 cups for double. It's 2 cups for a regular recipe. We got the salmon. It's a complete meal. Okay. And we use cucumber and carrots for our veggies. So it's ready to go kind of stuff. So, okay. Pass this to you. And it's time for tofu. What?
You salmon, you just
Yeah.
make it and then crumble it.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah. And while I'm doing this tofu, I want to get the wrap, these here, so people can do their own wrap, like kind of line it up. So there can do wrap and then hummus and then the sticks and then the sauce, the peanut sauce. And so it's time for tofu. So I want to talk, I marinated these. I did with the paper towels you see there. I drained them for a couple hours. This is the recipe that is the veggie cubes there, the veggie bowl tofu marinade. So this one I just, I took the water out this way and then I cut it into small cubes in the bag. You don't have to do, gosh, I am making a mess tonight. You don't have to do the bag. It's convenient here. At home, I usually do, I have like, kind of like a baking dish, an oven dish that I'll spread out and put the marinade on and just toss it. I put it usually in the refrigerator and just, toss it with a spoon or flip it with a spatula every so often. The baggies, the only problem with the baggies is you can't wash these out because they've got honey or a little sesame oil. So it's going to be hard to wash them out. So, but it's convenient for here. And it is nice because you can just work the marinade through so gently there. Now, these here, you don't have to cook tofu, okay? I know you're going, what?
Yeah.
What? So it's okay if you pass on eating this tofu, okay? But you could actually, and I've done this same recipe, but at home just sauteed it, tossed it in a pan, cooked it, and given it a little crispiness on the outside. You know, that's what you're doing. So if you want to, but you don't have to. And there was a restaurant that went out of business called Frishy, out at Betplex that I loved, but it went out. I didn't go there that often, so I didn't help it. But they actually had tofu. You could do tofu, you could do beef. It was actually grass-fed beef they had, you could pick. And their tofu was not fried. It was steamed. They actually just steamed, was the only thing they did to it. I was like, oh, I never thought of that, you know? So I didn't even steam this, but the point is, this can just go in things. You can just add this in things. Now, after a couple days, the texture is going to get a little, it's still safe, but you may not care for the texture after 3 days. Once you saute tofu, though, give it a crispiness. It's good for, you don't even want to know how long I've taken my tofu for, okay? It's over a week I've taken my tofu when I saute it for, with, you know, just because it's fine, you know, so, but, so this is an option. So, Tanya, I'll have you just dump this in a bowl, if you don't mind. And we'll give it a spoon. So the other one, I made 2 batches of this, and I didn't know how many, so you guys can have as much tofu as you want tonight. But I marinated in the barbecue. So the barbecue has the apple cider vinegar, and has honey, and has the seasonings that are there are what I call the general all-purpose. If you don't know what to add to something, ginger, paprika, chili powder, and cumin are really good. Just 1 teaspoon of each one. Just you're gonna end up with a good result. So that's basically what we've done here is paprika, garlic, cumin, and ginger. So or chili powder. Sorry, chili powder. So just remember chili powder. We don't want to use Tones or McCormick because it has salt added. So the jalapeno, you could add that. I didn't add that this time. Half of one, just be careful. You know, the seeds in there, it's perfectly fine to cut it without gloves, but just be careful. If the juice gets on from the seeds gets on your finger, like embedded, and then you touch your eye, like I did once, okay, then you get to see if the eye wash works or not, okay? So just know it traditionally is fine to work with without, you know, taking eye goggles and gloves, but just be careful. So, but jalapeno, actually, it's the seeds and the juice of that are the really super hot. The jalapeno, the outside peppers, is fine. It just adds a little bit of flavoring. So I just put them in there. And again, normally at home I have a baking sheet that I flip and have for a couple hours. So we're just going to, let's see, we are good to go on this. So let's see, let's just add, I'm going to add it straight in. So the rice is done. So I'm going to make it sushi rice, the brown rice, by just adding in this and mixing it. Sugar. Yep. And so let's go ahead and put it in a bowl. Got a little moisture in there, so go ahead and scoop out, if you can, the rice from there. So, okay, so that's be ready. And then, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to just scoop. I just thought of it. I want to just add it all here. So with that little moisture, I probably should have let it cook a little bit longer. It's soft, so we're going to be okay that way, but with that little moisture there. So I'm just going to see this so you guys at home can see this. Okay, we've got all our ingredients in there except for the sauce. So I can smell this seaweed. And the salmon, typically when I open the can, I can smell it, but it really kind of dissipates once you add it in. So there's the sauce there. So. Woo,
Use month,
what?
can we use month instead of sugars?
Okay, I love that you brought that up, monk fruit. So I'm going to start cooking this while we discuss that because the World Health Organization just came out with a statement that they do not recommend all artificial sweeteners, all. So, and there's been, and actually Pritikin just updated their stance and said that stevia was their only one, or monk fruit without any erythritol in it. So monk fruit is okay. Well, the World Health Organization said it doesn't have enough information for monk fruit. Okay. So Pritikin has said monk fruit's fine. The problem is finding monk fruit without erythritol. Okay. It's very hard to find. Plus it's a little pricey. Most of your combinations actually even have more erythritol than monk fruit. If you notice the order of the ingredients is erythritol first and then monk fruit. So there supposedly is some, but whether we have some in our area or not.
It's Costco.
Just monk fruit? No.
Little packets.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So Brittany said that in Walmart, I mean Costco. Been there twice this week. I'm going to, I'll check that next time they're home.
I can bring it.
Okay.
Bring it back.
Okay, that would be great. You got it. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna cook this up. So I think we're okay here. So with my water. Oh, where's my water? Where's my water? Come on.
Is there water in the pan?
No, it just, when there's water on the edge, it won't go on. Like when there's a certain amount threshold, it feels. So, okay, we're gonna turn that on. And then I'm actually going to put a little bit, you could spray it with nonstick, but like I've said before, my hesitancy is it does break down the pan over time. It's not really quick, but I just like to use a little olive oil and just, that is your surface that will kind of, any kind of, you know, it just kind of makes it smooth, you know, like for women, we put stuff on our face to make it smooth. It's like, we're putting stuff on this to make it smooth so then when the cooking, it can cook. So, okay, so I'm just going to shake off the marinade there.
And they don't have peanut butter.
No, no peanut butter here. So now these will get dark because of the honey. The honey will caramelize, so it'll look like it's burnt, but it isn't. Okay, so I've gotten them very dark before and been holding my breath, and everybody's eaten them all. So it just takes a few minutes at medium high heat. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit, put it a little high. This thing is so hot. There we go. Try that. Okay. So I know we're over time. So those at home, thank you so much for joining us. Good to see you, Flo. So next week, we're going to be doing soups and chocolate and some other things mixed in there with two very key principles. We're actually going to do an eating activity together. I'll bring the food. You don't have to bring anything. So those at home, if you guys can bring just, you'll want to have like 5 bites of something or 3 bites of something. So you can do the eating activity with us. So really simple. So and next week will be our last class. I can't believe it. So let's see. I thought I saw a message from somebody. But it disappeared. Is it gone? Okay. I don't see it. Okay. Well, wanted to make sure I got that. So, okay. So think about your action steps. Anybody, you know, go through, make sure you check that. Leave. So I put these a little early. You'll see they very distinctly have a more done look to them when they're done. I just don't want to overdo them. How long would you think? Well, on this stove, like 4 minutes aside. At home, it's probably closer, it depends upon how heated up the pan is, but more like 6 minutes at home.
That's a non-stick pan, you didn't break.
No, I just added a little oil and then I did my paper towel method. So these are new pans. They're actually doing really well. And I normally have it like well done by now. Let's do it a little longer. I want you to get a little firmer texture because that's usually the thing with tofu is the texture. Has anybody had tofu before?
I've tried some long time.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Did you have it at a restaurant or did you have it at home?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, and that's a good place to start, actually. It's, especially because most people are really not familiar. It's really like a totally foreign thing. So at a restaurant, a Thai restaurant has fabulous. A lot of restaurants nowadays do offer tofu as an option. So I'm surprised at some of the restaurants that do. So
Downtown Moline,
what does?
Heritage downtown Moline, they
Okay.
used to have a restaurant there.
Yeah.
My daughter worked there in the restaurant and made the food, and we had tofu and falafel.
Ah,
No, no.
it's the farm. They want to heard of them.
Yeah, their restaurant business.
Okay,
I was pleased with it.
yeah,
But the man that owned it, passed away, and someone else took over.
yeah, I hadn't heard, okay. Okay, yeah. So I like Thai, there's a couple Thai places in town and they do pretty fresh vegetables. And, so it's a good way. They might have spring rolls. Oh, which reminds me, I actually have, the rice roll here is another wrapper. So while these are cooking, I'll show you real quick here. So you see how this looks like, communion wafer?
Yeah.
So they last forever, but they actually are minimally processed, amazingly. It's just rice flour, tapioca flour, water, salt. So you can tell, I don't want to, I've so many times have overdone these. Oh, we're getting there. Okay. So, since we just have you guys, I want to get them just right. So, okay, what we do is we just run this underwater. One side, other side. And then you'll watch it. You see how it's already getting more pliable?
Yeah.
Okay, so now this can't hold all that we put in the collar wrap. And collar wrap is really great because it can hold a lot. What you would do here for the roll, the spring roll, we usually call them, but rice roll, is you're going to put your vegetables. It's a carrier for vegetables, and then you dip it in a sauce. So you can dip it in the hoisin sauce. Now you could add mini shrimp cooked. That's really nice in this, or little cubes of cooked tofu that were marinated in a little bit of something. Mint or basil is really nice in here. So you can see, we just like do it like a burrito, fold, and then you have your sauce in there and you just roll. See how that it's really easy to work with. It takes 2 minutes max. So, but actually, my girls love those. We go through them and they will make dinners a lot of times themselves with them. And so these are perfect. So gotta eat these. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I might make a few more, but I want to finish up here. What they'll do is also to add a little texture and fun, you add a few noodles, like cooked, like typically if you were at like a Korean restaurant or something, they put a little bit of rice noodles. Okay. So, and we have rice noodles at home again, because of my exposure to the Asian culinary. It's a pretty mainstay. It's super inexpensive too. So, but
Had some rice noodles, but I don't know what to do with them. I got it from the house.
they should have the directions in the back, but usually you soak them, or you can put boiling water and then take it off and put them in, but then you run cold water over them. And then you can add them to the pan to saute them with whatever. They'll come back to life. But the one thing you don't want to do is just soak them in hot water, okay, like forever. Like you'll get like rice water and they'll become sticky. Like if you love stuck together noodles, that's what you'll get. So, but they should have directions on the back. Usually they do. But you can just use like a pasta, like a chickpea pasta, and just a few threads of them in there. Just adds a little, when you take a bite, you got a little noodle, you got a lot of veggie, and you dip it in the hoisin or like sauce or something like that. So again, it's a super quick meal, and these last forever. You could take it to work and just run it underwater, come back and wrap it with whatever you put in your lunch kind of thing too. So it's a carrier, and it doesn't add. Whereas, like if we have a flour tortilla, that's 210 calories of burrito size, and like almost 30 grams of carb. So this is completely different. So I just want to expose you to some different things. I do have seaweed here too, like a sheet. And when you wrap for seaweed, here's the thing. It's more fragile even than the rice paper. So what you do typically is I will put hummus on half and then put the veggies. I usually do, it sounds weird, but it works out. Hummus half because it won't handle all. Then you do your veggie sticks this way, just a couple things. Then you fold it over kind of like fish and chips, like, the newspaper with your fish and chips from the UK. And all you need to do is take a little water and you press it, and you press, hold it, and it's done. It sticks. And so it's not something that you can cut in half and pretty. You got to eat it then. So, you could dip it in sauce too. It just can't hold as much as the other things. It is just a little more fragile. But it is a carrier. So those are some things to think about. So Walmart. In the Asian section, top shelf, they're carrying it right now.